Friends, uh, today I've got an opportunity to take a lecture on role and usage in effective communication. Uh, I'll give my introduction. Since last 28 years, I'm dealing with language teaching, and of course, since last 10 years, I'm a teacher's trainer in a refresher course, orientation course, where I'm giving a lot of lectures related to use of technology in education at large. And of course, in present generation, in 21st generation, ICT, technology, artificial intelligence, these have made a big headway. There is no question about it. And the stakeholder, the teacher and student, if they use the technology for the benefit of the community, I think so that that it is going to help by leaps and bounds. There is no question about it. It can be facilitated for the upliftment, development, and for making a progress in education. And this is the thing that that my 1 hour lecture will be comprising of as such. So as far as my today's lecture is concerned, I will be going to talk about the softwares, the applications, and the links related to the ICT which can be used in the communication. As far as the ICT is concerned, it is for creativity, it is for collaboration, it is for communication. And of course, if we imbibe, if we absorb, and if we bring in the mainstream, then definitely, we can do the justification as far as the communication is concerned from the ICT point of view is concerned. So, I'm coming on my slides, and as far as the slides are concerned, of course, this is going to help you for uploading the application from Android or from the Apple platform, and it is going to help you to download this application and work in the classroom from the teacher's point of view in particular and students' point of view in general as such. Now, coming to my this slides, as far as the ICT is concerned, information and communication technology. When it comes to information, there is a lot of information on the net, Internet of Things, what we call it as an IoT, okay, what we call it as a big data. Okay, so we are having a lot of information, and as far as this information is concerned, how we are going to use this information from the student point of view. When we talk about the information for communication, we have the voice assistants, we have the artificial intelligence, we have the visual learning, we have numbers of things where if students can do a lot of permutation and combination for their development, then of course, the problems of employment or the problem of jobs can be solved as such. When we talk about the communication, the basic concept of communication is how to make your things interesting, how to make your things exciting, how to make your thing in such a way that you get not only the degree, but you get the opportunity or related to doing the justification of whatever the things are concerned. So coming to my first slide is that that the basic communication. When I talk about the basic communication, formerly we were doing on the just on the blackboards, and the teachers were coming in the classroom to take the lectures as such. But presently, the whole scenario has been changed. And when we talk about the scenario, then you have the social platforms, you have the educational platform, you have numbers of things related to artificial intelligence, you have numbers of things related to visual learning. So this communication has to be altered, it has to be changed. And since long, the things have been going on that that only the teachers coming in the classroom and just dealing in the lectures on the blackboard things. Now those communications have to be changed by using the numbers of applications. And when I talk about the applications, you have the apps on Google, you have the apps on Apple Play Store, Apple platform, where more than 3 million applications are there. And if you choose few applications, then you are definitely going to do a lot of wonderful things as such. So as far as my today's purpose is concerned, my today's purpose is to show you those applications, to discuss about those technology, and how to use those technology in our day-to-day workforce. And if suppose we have those things, it is not only that we will be improving from the educational point of view, we will be improving from the social networking point of view, we will be improving from the content creation point of view, we will be improving from the training delivery point of view. So we will be delivering from the information access point of view. So these are the basic things that we have to come out of our examination patterns. We used to say that that as far as after getting the degrees, we are not able to get the employability. But we have to improve our communication factor. And if we improve our communication factor, definitely there are numbers of changes, numbers of alteration. We can do a miracle as far as the employability part is concerned. Now, as far as coming to the 21st century things are concerned, education 1, education 2, education 3, and education 4. Now, talking about education 1, that in present time also, we are having more or less of the education 1 sort of a theory. That, that memorizing the stuff and, vomiting in the examination, and just, whatever the stuff we have imbibed, we are just putting in the examination. But in a way, that we are doing the thing by rote. And we are learning the things by heart and presenting the things in the examination. So what happens that, the communication does not take place as such. It is only a temporary communication of learning the things and putting in the paper. That is the thing what takes place. Now, as far as the education 2 is concerned, it is internet-enabled learning. When we talk about the internet-enabled learning, since 1990 we are having the internet, but as far as the present scenario is concerned, internet of things, through internet we can revolutionize our education. So as far as education 2 was concerned, 30 years back we had the beginning of internet, but presently there is a lot of data on internet. But how we are going to use that internet from the student point of view, that is a very important part as such. When we talk about the education 3, it is empowering the student to practice knowledge. What happens that that we talk about the knowledge, but as far as the materialization of the knowledge is concerned, we are lagging that thing. From the teacher's point of view, from the student point of view, there is a plethora of knowledge. There is a sea of knowledge. But as far as the things are concerned, there's those knowledge, a chunk of knowledge has to be taken and it has to be worked on. You have to take few applications, you have to take few softwares in your, you have to dance in a limited circle as far as the usage of technology is concerned. We have to break the big data into a small data, and in that small data, you have to work that, that how technology in your subject, in your curriculum, in your syllabus, how it is working. And when we come to know about that, that on the initial base, that how the things are working, then, you will be using the technology at large. As we say that, that appetite comes with eating. So, the taste of technology, the taste of 21st century education through internet, through Google, we have to use those things through the Google Play Store, through the Apple Store, we have to have the taste of that thing. And in my forthcoming slide, I will be talking about those things. And presently, we are dealing with the education 4, where we have to empower the student to produce the innovations. Worldwide, we are seeing that, that the innovations are taking place so rapidly. We are jumping so high. But, as far as the third world countries are concerned, and specifically India, we are not made the bigger headways as far as the innovations is concerned, specifically in education. When we talk about the medical science, when we talk about the engineering, when we talk about the other thing, probably we might have made a little bit of headway. For example, we have developed the COVID vaccine in the last few days we have seen. But unfortunately, when it comes to education, the use of technology in 21st century for the communication base, I'm sorry to say that, that we have not even initiated on that thing as such. And that is the thing, that is the purpose of education, that the skill development, as our Prime Minister is saying, that, that skill development has to be given the emphasis. And when we talk about the skill development, through skill development only, the communication, the purpose of communication can take place. So in my viewpoint that, in 21st century, the creativity, the innovation, the development, these are the buzzwords. And we don't have to speak only related to these words, but we have to use these words in letter and spirit. And this is the purpose of our education. Okay. Now coming to my next slide, that that why we are not using. We are not using the technology for communication or for the development, for the simple reason that that we are in the comfort zone. And when we talk about the comfort zone, that that I got a job, as far as the things are concerned, I don't have to work, because from the student point of view, they are not inquiring, they are not asking, and whatever the things I am doing, it's okay. I don't have to go out of my comfort zone. So teacher has to come from their comfort zone to fear zone. And when I talk about the fear zone, it means that that initially when you are using the technology, probably you may be lacking self-confidence, you may be finding some excuses on that, you may be affected by others' opinion, and you will be tentative initially when you will be coming from comfort zone to fear zone. So important thing is that that the technophobia, what we say as such, we have to come out of the technophobia. And when we come out of the technophobia, then then we will be coming to the learning zone. And as far as the learning zone is concerned, the technology will give us initially a little bit of teething problems. And this teething problem, when we are able to come out, when we acquire the new skills, when we are going to extend our things from the comfort zone to fear zone to learning zone, and what happens that there will be some challenges and problems. But as far as these challenges and problems are concerned, when we are getting the solution related to that thing, we are brainstorming the stuff, but after the brainstorming of the stuff, we are getting the solution. What will happen? That we will be coming into the growth zone. And as far as the growth zone is concerned, that growth zone is materialization of whatever the content is concerned. We see that, we call that, that as far as the laptops and the MacBooks or the PCs and the smartphones are concerned, they used to offer a lot. For example, when you talk about the smartphones, we call it that, that presently it's a smartphone, but it is a smartphone, but are we using as a smartphone? We are just confined to using the WhatsApp, or we are just confined to use app as a Facebook as such. But when we are using the other applications for our growth and development, then we are really coming in the growth zone. But presently, smartphone is only in the inverted commas as such. When we talk about the smartphone, we are just picking the phone, we are just talking on the stuff as such. And after talking, we used to do little bit of things on Instagram, we work on Facebook, we work on our WhatsApp, and that is the thing that, we call it as a smartphone. But in a real way, when you are using your Apple phone or the latest Samsung phone, you can use in your education or for communication, it can do wonders of things. There is no question about it. And as far as my next slides are concerned, definitely it is related to that that how you are going to use your devices for the betterment of the students. That is the first priority as such. So my saying is that I have the device, but that device should not be rusted. Those device has to be used to the core for the development and progress of the student. Now, talking about coming to the mobile phone. As far as my PhD work is concerned, my PhD work is how to enhance the education and English language through mobile phone as such. Mobile phone is just not a box, but through your internet, through your flipped lectures, through your Google, through your applications, you can have the connectivity and you can have the communication worldwide as such. And presently, we have seen in COVID, that through your laptops and your mobile phone, we were just confined to our houses, to just homes, but we were able to communicate throughout the world through our technology. So I think so that that we have to make our devices really smart. The devices are already smart, but we have to become smart to use our devices in a proper manner. So this is my kit bag. The video, the image what I'm showing, this is my kit bag, where I'm having the laptops, where I have the phone, where I have the iPads, where I have the tablets, where I have the internet, where I have the routers. I have numbered the things as such. So this is the, in a real sense, that you can communicate worldwide by sitting at home and having your employment at home. This is the thing that, that in COVID-19 what we are able to. So, I think so that, that it was a blessing in disguise that, that the communication has improved through these devices in last 1.5 years as such. Now, as I told before that, that from 18th century to 20th century, that what type of education we were, or what type of technology what. In 18th century, we had the industrial revolution, where we had the steam-based engine, okay? In 20th century, we had the industrial revolution. In 20th century, we had the computer and internet-based knowledge. And in 21st century, the knowledge what we are having is the artificial intelligence. When we talk about the artificial intelligence, two things I will be emphasizing on. One thing is that, the voice assistants, and second thing is artificial intelligence. Presently, the artificial intelligence has taken the front stage. And because of this thing, that we are finding that, that the revolution in every field we are able to see it out. But unfortunately, as far as education is concerned, as I told before that, that revolution, we have to begin it out as such. And as far as the artificial intelligence, it comes into the 3 stages. In 1990, the artificial intelligence was on the first stage. But as far as presently, the artificial intelligence is on the 3rd stage. What we call it is a Web 3, the semantic web, what we call it as such. As far as the Web 1 was concerned, it was a one-sided thing as such. As far as the Web 2 was concerned, Web 2 is related to the two-side communication. Presently, we are passing through the Web 2. And as far as the Web 3 is concerned, it is the machinery who will be thinking, who will be working, who will be giving the solution to the problem as such. And in education, if suppose we have the Web 2 and Web 3 technology, we can do a lot of amazing work as far as the education is concerned. Now, coming to the 21st century learning skills, as you know that my main topic is on communication, but through the artificial intelligence and through the voice assistant, through the visual imagery, through the big data, through the internet of things, the collaboration, the creativity, the critical thinking and the communication, all these 4 things can take place as such. And the main thing is that, that we have to see that our students become creative. And when they become creative, they will be doing the things on their own as such. Presently, what happens that, that the sense of innovation we are not finding, because we are not finding the sense of creativity. And when creativity takes place, when there will be the collaboration between the peers, between the student to student, between teachers to student, between center to state, between state to universities, when this type of collaboration takes place, then we will be finding a sense of creativity. And with the creativity, always the critical thinking is concerned. What we call it is a Socrative learning. Critical thinking, Socrative learning means asking the questions. We have to come out of our status quo. We are just, we are not, as far as the latest things are concerned, whatever the things it has been poured to, we just take it out as such. But the present generation, if they ask that, that yes, technology has to be used in education, the teachers should use the technology, the institute should use the technology, the state should use the technology, then I think that all this communication, collaboration, critical thinking and creativity will give us some solution related. And in the developed country, we have seen that that all these four learning skills have been taken into consideration as far as the education is concerned. So in our workforce, in our mainstream also, we should take all these skills and we should materialize, we should utilize for the betterment of the community. Now, this, as far as this image is concerned, this image talks a lot about this. Presently, what it was? It was just that, the books were stacked, and that a lot of learning was taking place as such. And when we come from the fourth figure to first figure, we see that there is a paradigm shift. And as far as this paradigm shift is concerned, with just one iPad or one tablet or on your one device, you can have the world on your fingertips as such. But main thing is that, having a device and having the skill, know-how to use those devices, that's an important part as such. So our government, our central government is laying a lot of emphasis to get rid of those baggages. And this baggage is that, that when the teachers, when the authority themselves are capable to use the technology, when they are able to use the technology on their own, then what will happen, that it will be percolated from teachers to student and from student to peer learning. So in my opinion, that, that from fourth stage to first stage, from industrial revolution to artificial intelligence, this figure, the last figure, it is related to more or less of the industrial revolution, and the first figure is related to artificial intelligence. And this artificial intelligence with the human brain, with the human working, if both things are blended, then we can see a lot of changes. And this changes definitely is going to help society or education at large for communication and for connectivity. Now, of course, as I told you that, the blended learning. And when you talk about the blended learning, shaking the hand with the technology, shaking the hand with the machinery, and of course, synergizing both the things is definitely going to facilitate the learning process. And I think so that, that the faster we work on this thing, it will be better. Because, as far as the procrastination and the delayments in imbibing or absorbing the technology, we are having a lot of red tapeism as far as the use of technology is concerned. Because the authorities, the change of curriculum by having a lot of technological study is going to help it out. But that is coming on a slow process. But if this thing, the synergizing of the machine learning, the artificial learning, and the human thinking, if both things synergize, then we are on the right path and we can do wonders as far as these things are concerned. And presently we have seen that, that through the educational revolution system, we have seen that, that nowadays we used to get the degrees just only having the only stuff imbibed and absorbed and appeared in the examination. But we are just using the tip of an iceberg as far as the technological process is concerned. So coming out of the tip of an iceberg and using the chunks of technology and getting the degrees, then the things are happening. As far as we have seen that, that the person is getting out, but not getting the jobs or employabilities. So it's not only getting the degrees, but getting the degrees with the knowledge, then the things are going to help it out. And of course, as I shown in my last slides also, that these are the technologies which are going to help it out, from mobile phones to computers to everything you have on the hand. And only one mobile phone absorbs everything. You don't have to carry your numbers of things as far as the things are. You don't have to have the books. You don't have to go from pillar to post to go from the library learning. Through your just one mobile phone or your one device, you can make a dent as far as your education learning is concerned. Now, talking about as I talked about, from Web 1 to Web 4. Presently, we are passing from Web 3 to Web 4. As far as Web 1 was concerned, it was absolutely information centered, which was up to 1960s and 1970s. Our learning and education was just confined to Web 1 world only. It was just information centered. We did not get the information other from the teachers as such. Then as far as the second phase was concerned, it was Web 2 learning, people to people talking, people to people conversation. That was a Web 2 learning, where communication and collaboration took place as such. Now, third phase we are passing through is a machine learning. And when we talk about the machine-centered learning, we have seen that, that in the hospitals, the operations are done through the machines, and numbers of permutations and combination work has been done through the machine-centered working as such. And the last stage, that we are entering in after 2025, we are in the process of that thing. That is an agent-centered. And when we talk about the agent-centered, it means that, that machine will be having the cerebral thinking also. They will be using that algorithm they are going to use from their mind also. As far as the third part, machine learning was concerned, machine-centered was concerned, they were doing the work in a linear way. But when it comes to agent-centered, then whatever the commands are concerned, those thinking process, we are going to get it out as such. So this communication from Web 1 to Web 4, it is definitely going to make a lot of changes. But again, on the risk of repeating, these changes are to be brought into the education. And when these changes are brought, then I think so that, that we will be having the elevation and upliftment of the society from the employment point of view as such. Now, coming to the collaboration, coming to the technology, and as far as the technology is concerned, have the assistive technology. And what is the meaning of assistive technology? Assistive technology means which assist, which gives you the support. And as far as this assistive technology is concerned, we find that, that you are having the research tools, you are having the organizational tools, you have the study skills, note-taking part is there, building up accessibility is there, and all this thing can be done through your one laptop. Your one laptop or one device is more than enough to have the communication worldwide as such. There is no gainsaying or there is no question about it. Now, coming to one of my very important slides. This is the important, up to now I have taken just, that the theory part I have taken. But now I am taking that, the second part this is my second part. And as far as the second part is concerned, it is related to the application. First, I will be going to give you the tags. And after the tags, I will be giving you the names of this application. And my friends, my teachers, my students, my colleagues, they should download these applications. This application for education, it is going to help tremendously. And I think so that, that it will give them the amazing results in the classroom teaching. As far as the classroom teaching is concerned, this classroom teaching, if we are using the projectors, if we are using the laptops, if we are using the streaming part, if we are dealing with the mirroring part, mirroring means from your laptops and from your mobile phone, if you are able to show the 3D animations, movies, images, then of course the student will be interested in, and they will be absolutely relishing their classroom learning, and the teacher will be definitely enjoying their classroom teaching. So now I will be dealing with some of the applications with the tags. First of all, coming with first is social networking and collaboration. When it comes to Skype, Padlet, Google Docs, Pinterest, Twitters, these are the few applications where we can make the communication. Whatever your slides are concerned, whatever your audio and whatever your you have to deal with your videos, you have prepared your images, you have prepared your presentations, you can show through the Google Docs, Pinterest, you can show through your Padlet, Skype, and all sort of things are concerned. Second thing is the word cloud or collages. 3 or 4 applications I will be talking about. There is Tuxedo, Wordle, Taggle, and of course the Shape Collage. When we talk about the word clouds, the teachers are taking the lectures, they can have an access to word cloud. Whatever the lectures they are taking, they can create their own word cloud. And word cloud means that you will be finding the props. You will be finding, for example, I am taking a lecture on multiple intelligences. So through the word clouds, I will be having some words which will be very much expanded on the projector, on my screen. And through that, I will be able to take my lectures as such. Then Coming to next, images and videos, images and audios. When it comes to images, it is very important thing that that presently you can have an access to images and audios from your Google. There are numbers of applications, for example, image search, for example, Audacity, for example, Footable, for example, Pictro, for example, VoiceThread. Now, these are the applications where you can have an images related to whatever the topic you want to take. For example, as far as my today's lecture is concerned, I've shown you numbers of images. From where I have taken these images? These images I have taken from Google, I have taken from Pictro, I have taken from PicSearch, I have taken from Image Search, I have taken from VoiceThread. Now these are the applications where I can have my own folders. And on these images, I can have the recordings. So in classroom, what happens that that whatever the slides I have shown, instead of my speaking, what will happen that the images are going to speak for themselves as such. And as far as these images are concerned, you will be finding the 3D images, you will be finding the high resolution images. So what happens that instead of writing on the blackboard or yours talking, if you show the images, definitely it will make a lot of difference. I remember one of the Chinese proverb that that one image is better than 1,000 words as such. And presently, as I told you, that that numbers of applications where you will be finding the 360-degree high resolution images. And one of the applications which I remember is Unsplash. From Unsplash, whatever the topic you want to take. Today, in the morning, I prepared my lectures related to communicative competence. And I've taken some 15 images from Unsplash. And I was surprised that that as far as those images is concerned, it has its own beautifying effect and when you in the classroom, instead with your lecture, you are showing the image to the students, it will make a lot of impact on that as no question about it. Now coming to my next slide, there's the organization and bookmarking. Now, as far as the bookmarking is concerned, we all know this term, but it is a very important thing that, for our undergraduate, postgraduate, for our teachers, the bookmarking factor is a very important factor. And bookmarking, Diigo and Symbaloo, these are the two very important applications which can help the teachers and students fraternity as such. For example, I'll just give one example of bookmarking. For example, you have few images on Google or on a Pictro, but at that time you don't want that image. You will be wanting that image when you will be implementing your project. But those images, you can create your own folder in Diigo. Diigo, and whenever you will be requiring, just give the tag on that as such. Or you have taken some text from Google, and that text you have to save that text. So on that Diigo, you can save that text, and in the future, whenever you want to work on your lectures or on a project or for the examination, this bookmarking application is going to help you on that. And as far as the bookmarking app is concerned, you can do annotation, you can send to the student, you can share with the student, and you can do numbers of permutation and combination as far as this application is concerned. So I think so that that for the learners fraternity, bookmarking app is a very important factor. And when you search these apps on your Play Store and on your Apple Store, you'll be finding that there are numbers of advantages related to that. Now coming to videos. Creating videos. Now, as far as the creating videos are concerned, I think so that that the teachers or the peer learning from the student point of view, they should create their small videos, 3 minutes videos or 5 minutes video when the teachers are taking the lectures in the class. For example, they are having a lecture for 1 hour. So what I think is that that for half an hour they should take the lecture, and for next half an hour they should show the videos to the student. For example, I'm taking one of the lectures on linguistic competence. So I spoke for 5 minutes on linguistic competence. Next 5 minutes I'm showing the video of communicative competence or linguistic competence. My own video I'm showing. I'm not taking the video from the YouTube. For example, I'm taking one of the lectures related to metacognitive awareness. Now, metacognitive awareness, I've taken the lecture for 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, what I will do, that I will show the video related to metacognitive awareness. So what will happen? That the teachers will be able to communicate with the student in a better manner. Otherwise, what will happen? That the teacher will give just 50 minutes or 1 hour lecture and just uh, on the days and after taking 4 hour lecture, they will be finding tired, they will be fatigued. So this technology is assisting to the teachers and to the student fraternity also. We are seeing that that a lot of videos are shared on the WhatsApp, but as far as those videos are concerned, we are finding the videos on the politics or on entertainment or on Bollywood. But instead of it, that that the student teachers should prepare their own small videos, and those videos should be based on education. And as far as the application on the creating the video is concerned, you have the video shop, you have the iMovie, you have the Screencastic, you have the Movie Maker, you have the Goal Animate, you have the Pixton, numbers of applications. You just go on your Google search, you go on your Play Store, Google Play Store, and just you write create video creation, and you will be finding hundreds of applications related to the creating the videos as such. Okay. Now I'm not showing you the lot of applications related to it, because I have to go through my other slides also. So coming to my next slide is, of course, using the mobile phone for communication, for language teaching, we know all. But main thing is that that presently we are having the connectivity, we are having the design of it, we are having a lot of communities. Main thing is that that usage of mobile phone, it is very important part. And as I told you, that education wise, we are having numbers of applications related to that, numbers of you see that that the whole thing you will be finding on your one mobile phone. The world has come on your mobile phone. All the books, the libraries have come on the book. So I think so that that we have to see to that that we use the utmost advantage. We should take the utmost advantage of the mobile phones, these devices, and we should come to the conclusion as far as the language. Now, of course, the blended, when we talk about the blended learning, the two things we have to take into consideration. First is the technology, and second is the teaching part, the peer learning part, the metacognitive learning part. It is very important thing that that the teachers, the books, the technology, all this thing has to be collaborated. And presently we have seen that that online learning has taken the front stage, and this online learning with the help of the teacher, with the help of the peers, it is definitely going to help it out. So I think so that that as far as the blended learning is concerned, as far as this term is concerned, this word is very much used in vogue. So it is the admixture, combination of all these things as such. For example, in the restaurant we are going, we call it as a combo food. Like combo food, we have the blended learning. And when we talk about the blended learning, I think so that the teachers and the student should come to the platform in the classroom. When they are dealing, they should have the face-to-face learning. But besides that also, when the technology is helping you, when the internet is helping you, the teacher should communicate from home, even though after their college or their lecture hours also. And of course, the teacher should make the small groups on that, individuals or small groups, and they should make the collaborations for the online learning and the otherwise learning. And this blended learning is a need of an hour. There is no gainsaying about it. It is a need of an hour. Now, coming to communication with the technology is concerned, it is used. I was using this term specifically in a very abstract manner, but nowadays, presently on this slide, I'm specifying my thing. And in STEAM, as far as this STEAM is concerned, it is an educational approach. STEAM is the abbreviation of science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. Formerly, we were just confined to only one thing, that you are dealing with the language work. For example, I've done my Master of Arts. So Master of Arts was related to language thing only. But presently, I have to deal with the technology also, because I have to deal with of course, with the computers. How I'm going to deal with the computers? A part of mathematics I should know. A part of science we should know. A part of arts I should know. So STEAM is a holistic approach. Formerly, what happened that that the things were water compartmentalized. A science student was just a science student, engineering student was science, engineering student. But presently, as I told before, that that student has to have an holistic approach. I may be a man of language, but without the knowledge of engineering, slight knowledge of engineering, science or technology, how I'm going to operate, how I can be using my usage of my mobile phones or laptops are concerned. So this is the thing that that we are having that fear factor. That from my first slide what I talked about, the teachers are having the fear factor because the lack of science and engineering and little bit of the technology, we are little bit skeptic, and we are little bit apprehensive about that thing as such. So the small part of everything in this team, in this slide, is a very essential part related to it. Now, coming to the communication part is concerned, one term is now very much in vogue, and that is, that we call it as a flipped lecture. And when I talk about the flipped lecture, it means flipped. Flipped means turtle, ulta. That we call it as a flipped. The teaching was done in the classroom, and the homework was done at home. But nowadays, the tradition, the scenario has changed. Why the scenario has changed? Because, the collaboration and the communication has become easier. Nowadays, whatever the videos I have prepared, the slides I have prepared, the presentations I have prepared, I can share this thing with the student. And what will happen? That whatever the stuff I am speaking at home, the students can work at home. For example, I will be going. I'm taking a lecture on parts of speech, or I'm taking the lecture on, for example, types of adjectives, or types of listening. This is the lecture I'm taking. So instead of giving that lecture for 40 minutes, 45 minutes, what I will be doing, I will be preparing a video, and as far as this video is concerned, I will be sharing with my students. And when the when the students are coming in the classroom, they will be asking few questions, or they will be sharing among themselves, or they will be brainstorming, they will be talking about the content what I have talked. So what will happen? That the TTT, the teacher's talking time, is going to get reduced. And this is the trend which is very much going in the professional training. Worldwide, we are seeing that that the teacher have prepared their own websites, and in websites they have put a lot of videos on that. And here they are giving the code to the student, and the student can go according to the code. They just crack that code, just open the code, and they can have the numbers of videos. And by watching those videos, the student on their own time, they can have an access to anywhere, any place, anytime. And this flip lectures are the boon and advantage to the student for communication of the syllabus of the curriculum, for preparing for the examination, and the teacher's talking time is reduced in the classroom. So what happens? The two things are taking place in this thing. First thing is, the teacher is able to complete the syllabus or curriculum in an appropriate time, because the teachers can go fast, because already the material has been given to them. And second thing is that that lot of sharing, lot of brainstorming, lot of communication, and lot of peer learning is taking in the class. Now, two slides are there. As far as the first slide is concerned, we are seeing that that it is the classroom learning. And in the classroom learning, we are seeing that the teachers are talking indiscriminately for n numbers of hours, and the students are just watching and listening. And as far as the second slide is concerned, what we are seeing, that the teacher has shared the videos on the WhatsApp, on the Facebook, on Instagram, or whatever the platform is concerned. So what happens, that the student will be coming with the difficulties in the classroom, and they will be asking related to whatever the videos they have listened to, or whatever the presentation they have saw, and they will be sharing with group. They will be sharing with the peer group. So here the learning takes fast, the learning takes with the purpose, the learning takes with the emphatic manner, and the learning takes powerfully. So for the examination, it is not only the learning from the examination point of view, but it is learning from the jobs or from the employability, and lifelong learning takes place. So I think so that that as far as the flip lectures, I myself have prepared more than 100 lectures on English language teaching, and this is facilitating me. This is helping me by leaps and bounds for sharing with my students, and this is the things what I am looking forward to from a stakeholder teachers who will be working, and it will definitely going to help them by collaborating or sharing whatever the content is concerned. And specifically from the student point of view is concerned, at the time of examination, these videos are very helpful to the student for preparing from the examination point of view. So I think so that I talk a little bit more on this slide, but it is again the need of an hour. As far as the flipped lectures are concerned, it is need of an hour. And when I talk about the flipped lectures, in many format it is coming, as I told, that it is coming in the presentation form, infographics form, visual learning form, videos learning forms, okay, text form. So numbers of forms you will be finding as far as the flip lectures. So I think so in curriculum or syllabus we will be seeing in future that the flipped lectures will be the part of our syllabus from the central or from the state government. Later or sooner it is going to come it out as such. Now coming to the open source. Presently I was talking about the hard drives. I was talking about not the software, but I was talking about the hardwares. And when I was talking about the hardwares, I was talking about the laptops and mobile phones and projectors and HDMI cords and numbers of things I was talking about. But now I'm talking about the open source from the software's point of view. Okay, if you are having a device and if you are having a numbers of applications or other software, then your learning will be consolidated. There is no question about it. And two words are there. One is an open source and one is a closed source. Open source means that you can have an access to the applications or the softwares free of cost, where we don't have to pay for it. And this, the closed source is where the subscription is there or where you have to pay for some application as such. From the students or from the teachers' point of view, there are more than 3 million applications on Apple Store and Google Store. And out of it, 80% or 90% of the applications are open source application. So I think so that it is going to help them whatever the topics they are dealing in. And when it comes to open source to closed source, many a times, we see that, the application initially for certain things, they give free of cost. And when you have to use the specialized or specific purpose you have to use, then you have to pay for certain money as such. But 80-90% of application you will be finding they are the open source, free of cost, and just go onto your Google Store. Just give the tag of whatever the application you want related to the things what you have to do. For example, creating the videos, creating the images, creating the presentations, audio book, audio note, bookmarking, numbers of tags you have. And if you do it out, you are going to find those applications free of cost. So open source is a very much common word which has been used nowadays, and the Apple Store and Google Store are providing these services more or less free of cost on that. Coming to those applications, you have numbers of applications on Google Store. Google Apps for Education site. What we call it is as a GAF. GAF means Google for Application for Education. GAFE. And here you will be finding the applications related to classroom teaching, through your calendar teaching, for your docs, for your sheets, for your slides, for your sites. Numbers of things you can have it out as such. So as far as my recommendations and my advice to you is that the two platform, one is the Google and second is Microsoft. These applications you will be finding that they are providing more or less the applications free of cost, and the student should use it out. Now here you will be finding numbers of applications where, as I use the word GAF, Google application for education. Okay, and here you will be finding, as I told before, that for blogging, for video publishing, for social media, for web publishing, for learning management, for YouTube, for sites, bloggers, everything you will be finding. And again, you will be finding the stuff or the things related to the from the examination or from the syllabus or from the curriculum point you have to prepare your lecture. It is going to facilitate or assist you for your teaching purpose. And as I talked about the Google part, the second part is a Microsoft part. Again, in a Microsoft part, here you have a number of applications, and I'm using 3 or 4 applications day in and day out. One is the PowerPoint, second is the Excel, third is Word. These are the applications almost daily I am using on it. And the subscription part, as I told you, that for the closed closed source is concerned, if you have to use extensively or you have to use some other more feature, then on the yearly basis they have the minimum subscription. But my humble request to my stakeholders or my friend is that that I have given this few slides. Please go through and find it out that that what is the purpose of this application and how these applications are going to help you out for your learning, teaching purpose. And definitely in education, it is going to make a big headway and dent from not only for imbibing or absorbing the content, but from the sharing point of view also, it is going to help a lot. There is no question about it as such. Now, coming to my as I talked about the artificial, now few slides will be concerned. I'm just running short of time, so I'll be just flipping my slides as such. Voice assistant, the teachers and students should use the voice assistant, and one of the best voice assistant is a Google now. But besides that, you have the Siri, Amazon Echo, then Facebook, Cortana. We can make our mobile phone really smart by using this voice assistant. And in the classroom also, or at home also, when you use this voice assistant, it is definitely going to help it out. And worldwide, we have seen that, that the youngsters are using the voice assistant for social purpose, for social networking. But again, my advice and my wishes are that that if it has been used for education, it is definitely going to help it out. And here you will be finding that that from 2015 to 2021, we have seen that in 2015 there were only 390 million people were using the voice assistant. But presently we have seen that in 2021 there are almost 2,000 million people are using these voice assistants as such. So if you start using it, you will never go back it out. And specifically in the classroom or for teaching purpose, you use Siri, you use Google Now, you use Cortana, you use Alexa, you use Face MI, you use Hound. There are numbers of applications which can, of course, revolutionize your teaching. There is no gainsay about it. And when I was talking about the application, now these are the application. In Google Play, there are more than 2.81 million applications. In iOS, there are more than 2.26, and in Amazon App Store, there are more than 380,000 applications. Now you think that that on Google Play, almost 30 lakhs applications are there. So just to give the tag, for example, you give the grammar tag and you will be finding hundreds of applications on there. You give the tag of vocabulary, you will be finding numbers of applications on vocabulary. You give the tag methods of English language learning, you will be finding numbers of applications related to that as such. So of course, this is a big data, where this big data you have to just divide it out and you have to share it out. Now friends, these are the few slides what I have discussed with you, and ICT is like a sea, but that how you can use it out by just having few buckets of water from the sea, and how you can use in your curriculum, how you can use in your syllabus, from sharing the content, from creating the content, from collaborating the content, and making the teaching and learning effective. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. And just whatever the things I've shown, if you believe in, if you think that it has to be worked on, come from fear zone to comfort zone to the growth zone, your teaching and learning will be effective, and the usage of ICT, it will have a wide effective communication in your learning and teaching process. Thank you very much.